Hi, I want to show you 3 ways you could use the text wrap tool in Illustrator. First, with a shape or an object on top of an image, and to create these shapes in negative space. Then I'm going to go through some possible problems and enhancements and conclude by showing you great examples I found. But first, I want to talk about what I found when I did my search. All these types of effects came up. So the in distorted and on don't use the text wrap tool at all. And the in, of course, you could use the text wrap tool to recreate this effect. But if this is what you wanted to do, a simple circle with text in it, there's a much faster way to do it. So this is basically what we're going to focus on. And you're going to say, but your example showed me text within circles. Well, see, what's going on here is that this is the shape, and the text is basically going wherever it can, wherever there's available space. And in this case, my shape has holes in it, so it's filling in the holes. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to select my object, and I'm just going to go to my option and invert. See what happens now? It's the opposite. It's going within and leaving these holes empty. So I think that's interesting to look at and understand so that you could create these negative space shapes. So let's look at our first example. Let's see this in action. First, we're going to grab some text, make it white, grab my layer, bring it below my object. With my selection tool, I'm going to grab both, object, text wrap, make. Okay, what happened? It's working, but not in the way I intended. That's because this is actually a PNG, right? It's an image with a transparent background. So the program is basically wrapping around the picture, right? But this is not what I wanted. So I'm just going to undo all this, Control Z. Now, before I created this video, I already made my shape. So I'm going to grab both my shape and my image by using the Shift button, right click, make clipping mask. Now what I did is I basically trapped my image within this shape. Now let's try this again. Get some text. And now, oh, let's not forget, put it behind. Grab both, object, text wrap, make. Voila. That's what I wanted to do. There you go. As easy as that. For this effect, I don't really have anything to work with. I have my image, but it's basically a background, which I've locked. So I'm going to have to create my own shape. I'm going to use the curvature pen tool. I'm not going to, I just wanted to show you the process. I don't want a fill color. So I'm just going to create the outline of where I want my effect to follow. I'm just going to do this rapidly so that, you're not waiting for me to create this effect or this shape. There you go. So all we have to do now is same as before. We create our text, make it white. Okay. This is important. I'm going to remove the color from my stroke, put my text behind the path that I've created. Then I'm going to select both, go to Object, Text Wrap, Make. Whoops, I moved everything. So Control Z. Here we go. See how great it works? Now we could go back to text wrap and we could go to the options tab. Now, if we wanted to, there's a space. Sorry, actually, I prefer doing it with my shape. So I'm going to go back to options, and I want you to take a look at this little gap here. This is what we're working with. We're increasing the space between my text and my shape. You could make it as big or as small as you want. And like I showed you before, you can invert, but that's a whole entire thing, right? And there you go. That's all there is to it. For a third example, all we have is a gradient background, which I've already locked. Now I'm going to go a little bit more in depth using more tools. If you want to follow along, which you don't have to work the way I do, the options will appear in the properties panel as you select things. But if you want to work like this, you could go to Windows, grab your panel, and just dock it below, right to the side of the right here. I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool, the character panel, the paragraph panel. And for the left, I'm going to use the shape builder tool. If you can't find it, just go to the three dots and see how it highlights it. Makes it pretty easy to find. So here we go. I'm just going to create a happy face because I think it shows well what you have to do, the steps. Perfect circle, holding the shift. I'm going to create another circle for an eye. Grab it, my selection tool, hold Alt. You see how my cursor changes. Duplicate it. Now for the mouth, I'm going to create another circle. Make a square on top of it. I just like to build shapes using simple shapes to start with. With my Pathfinder tool, I'm going to use minus front. There we go. We have a mouth. Perfect. Okay, so now this is the part where we're going to unite everything. So I'm going to grab everything, use my shape builder tool, and just select the portion that I want. You see how it's creating a line? It's going to go wherever this line is going to make the shape a part of what was selected. So I'm going to deselect and just re-grab just my new shape and delete everything that's, the remnants. There we go. Now that we have our shape, let's use the type tool. Bring the layer below. With our selection tool, grab both. Go to Object, Text Wrap, Make. There you go. Now, I don't find that the outcome is great. Let me just put my text white so you can see better. Okay, so some of the things you could do, you could go to, or go just to your panel that's appeared here, change the size of your text. And I find sometimes smaller text will just wrap better. Also, in the paragraph panel, see how it's left aligned? You could always use justify, and that will change the overall look. I don't like this. My shape still has the outline, so I'm going to remove that. Sometimes that could cause problems. In this case, it didn't, but sometimes it can. So with the paragraph panel open, you could use justify or try different things to get to where you want to be, and also hyphenate. Hyphenate will change the whole look of the outcome. See, now I could, oops, just move it around until I'm satisfied. So I hope these little tricks helped you create what you were looking for. To recap, I'm just going to go through a few problems you may encounter, like for instance, your text layer being above the shape or your shape stroke as a color. That could be a problem. And also it could be that you've ticked off the invert in your options here, invert wrap. And to improve the outcome from the paragraph panel, you could change the alignment, or you could check off the hyphenate. And from the character panel, you could reduce or increase the size of your characters. You could play with your tracking. Just have fun with it. Try different things until you reach your desired outcome. And now I'm going to show you, as promised, some cool images that I found on the internet. Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Maybe learned something along the way. Either way, you may consider subscribing, liking, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. Anyways, stay curious, stay creative. Bye for now.